It has been a while since I reviewed decks of cards not as vehicles for gameplay but as works of art. I used to do that when I review tarot decks, which is one of the things that I collect, and in fact in my next video I will review the Crow Tarot deck which I just acquired. But in this video I want to show you something different. I want to show you three artsy decks in which images and gaming functions interact in interesting ways, and in some cases even where the artsy element completely replaces the playable element. So this could be a recommendation for a present for the card player that has everything, and then you give them a deck of cards which is unplayable but beautiful, and chances are maybe they don't have it yet and they'll enjoy it for things that they don't usually enjoy in card decks, which is just looking at the cards. Or it can just be a way for us to reflect on some interesting elements of, well, cards. We handle them all the time, we take them for granted, but as soon as you start thinking about them, the expressive possibility of a card really is a mini painting in your hand, and so you can do different things. And here we have three interesting decks in which, again, the gaming functions and the artistic functions interact in peculiar ways. The first that I want to show you is the Royal Mischief deck. This is a modern deck inspired by transformation playing cards. Transformation decks were popular in the 19th century for a period, and they were, again, more objects of art and collectible items than really playable items, although you can play with transformation cards. The idea, however, is that the suits are not depicted against a neutral white background, but they are woven, they are turned into elements of a picture. And so the artistic element is inversely proportional to the clarity of gameplay. The artsier it gets, the harder it is to play the game. And here this Mischief, you had these like weird images, vaguely a la Gore, with the devilish figures, strange humanoids doing weird things. And of course, in some cases, you can still tell the suit easily. In other cases, well, it gets a little weirder. There's just this like dark humor here. This is definitely not a deck for kids. And I would almost say at a distance, for the further you are, of course, you lose the details of the scene and it's easier to see the suit. And in other cases, it can get a little crowded, especially close up. Look at this one. Who is, what did the artist, I don't know, what kind of medicine do they take to get the idea of bird breath and to turn a six of spades into this woman pulling a bird out of another woman's throat? And then there's like vaguely creepy things, and you see the creativity of integrating some suits to turn into one thing, say masks, and some other suits into like beards. In this case, we have these take one home. No thanks. No, these like weird looking maniacal hounds from hell. So, could you play this game again with these cards? Potentially, but you see, if for example one of the problems that you have is that there isn't a reminder here in the corner of the value. In fact, if there was such a thing, then pretty much what's on the card is irrelevant. The problem, of course, is that as you play the game or try to, the body of a card is covering part of the other, and you only, as you fan them in your hand, you only see a corner, and then it becomes completely incomprehensible. So right there, maybe you hadn't realized how important it is that the corner of the card is really what you use to play a lot more than the front. But these are just fun. Again, I don't know how much you would be able to play with them, or your card player friend that has everything, but they're really fun. Also, they are coated. I guess they may even be waterproof. They don't feel like they're pure plastic, but they have a thick coat that makes them also slide quite easily. You see this slightly or not so slightly messed up face figures. What? Yes, really dark humor. Characters that seem to come out from an episode of The Addams Family. I like it. I think it's a weird, fun deck that I'll probably never use to play, but from time to time I'll take it out. I don't know, when I can't find the dark illustrations of Gory and I feel like feeling, you know, that kind of like dark humor, slightly depressed but not desperate. Well, this is the kind of humor that doesn't make me happier, but makes me feel better. Gives sense to the dark humor of human life. Oh, I'm getting deep here. So, devils, weird people doing weird things, and sometimes exhibiting questionable morality. Ultimately, the two jokers, I was gonna say, they look like the most normal people, if not, of course, for the one on the right that has eaten too much hot chili. This is the Royal Mischief deck. Now, this is a deck in which you see art and gaming functions sort of like interfere with one another, but at the end they integrate in something that is nice to see. And then for those the faint of heart that suffer through the mischief, now something very nice and soothing and cute. Pretty much the aesthetic opposite, which is animal portraits playing card decks. I also want to say something. The fact that we have these things is so different from, say, a normal poker deck or a normal card deck. But in truth, it is just the application of the idea that we have in tarot cards to non-tarot cards. In tarot, we are used to the idea that a 2 of coins is probably not just 2 coins, and a 7 or 8 of clubs is not just 7 or 8, you guys, clubs, but it's a scene that contains that element. And in fact, we rarely play with tarot cards, we rarely play actual games, we use them for various functions. Some see the future or believe they do. Some use it for, again, artistic expression, for self-analysis, like a Rorschaching blot, and that's the way I believe that they can be valuable tools to understand, not the future, but maybe ourselves, maybe our past. So I like the fact that that idea of integrating imagery and game elements in a card now is being ported to this kind of deck. And yeah, however, you have a different approach in which the illustration and the game function, as you can see, coexist peacefully, and yes, thanks to the corner, you can play. Now, of course, you can see I am left-handed, so my instinct is to play like this. Well, I can turn them like this, but in any case, the point is that I would have to fan them the other way. Yes, left-handed people. At least they don't burn us at the stake anymore because we use the hand of the devil, like my grandma used to call it. But still, the world has not been designed for us. Meanwhile, you can look at some of these adorable little critters turn into humanoid figures with references to classic paintings. There's a lot going on here. You have the card, you have the gilded frame that gives it, again, the vintage idea. Really looks like a painting that maybe you find in the house of your rich uncle. And then the weirdness of classic art with animals. While at the same time, the deck remains fully playable, though again, I doubt you could play it. But will you? Oh, maybe you'll just take out from time to time and just enjoy the art, because there's enough there to definitely enjoy. I'm not a big dog person, I have to say. A lot of dogs in here. I would have preferred different, more variety of animals, and yes, fewer dogs, but I'm okay. I'm okay. When I get this ridiculous image here, I am already okay. And then we get to the opposite side of the spectrum. See? You see, here we have gaming functions and art combined in a sort of ambiguous way. Here they are neatly adjacent to one another, remain separate. Here we get to the point where one even wonders if philosophically this is a card deck. I mean, it is an item that is packaged as a cohesive whole, so we have to see this as a thing, not as more than some of the parts. It has beautiful, colorful arts like you see on tarot decks, like you see on transformation decks. but there is no game. It's basically a set of illustrations. Imagine that you have, instead of having an art book with beautiful garden dragons, so Daddy Dragon was in love with fruit and vegetable, and some months later, a little dragon that combined dragon and vegetable traits emerged. And so you have the Apple Dragon. So basically it's a book of fantasy illustrations. Imagine that you have a book of fantasy illustrations, but the pages are loose, which advantage of you can recombine them. And then this beautiful art is also paired with, keywords, so you can use them again for divination or for, most importantly, self-analysis, Rorschach ink blot. So you can enjoy, you can draw a card, say, okay, Natalie avocado, or patience. What does that tell me? Do I need more patience? Do I have enough patience? Timing. Am I doing well in that or poorly? But the art, the creativity. Maybe Magic the Gathering in the green energy cards. You have some stuff like that. You have the green dragons that grow on trees. But it's very creative and it's very beautiful. And I don't think you can play with it. Now here you have the accompany books, and actually I haven't even looked at it. I haven't even read it. Maybe there is a game that you can play, but if there was, I don't know. I don't see what you could do, but no, doesn't look like there is. And frankly, I wouldn't feel the need. Again, this is a perfect example of pushing the boundaries of the convention. So what a card is always a mini painting that usually we identify with a function in a game, or then it can be brought to back, or in any case it can be turned into, well, a pure expression of just art. Again, what is the advantage? The advantage is that it's more recombinable. You can shuffle it, you can surprise yourself, you can make your own composition, you can experience it with a degree of agency that you do not necessarily have in a book, in which you just, even if you flip through the pages, by flipping through a page, by turning a page or removing an image and seeing another one, and yeah, you can see multiple images at the same time and create your own compositions and then take pictures and share them on social media, because that is what we do these days, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you don't even need to feel guilty about it. It's 2019. It is okay now. So while I'm here just running my vocal cords, I hope you had a chance of having a look at these beautiful, adorable garden dragons, which are cards, a part of a card deck, but is philosophically a card deck, a deck of cards that cannot be played. I'll leave the philosophical issue to you. I hope you enjoyed looking at these three unusual artsy deck. Art and game functions, art with game functions, art and game function, art on a game platform that is hijacked by creativity. So this is just I wanted to show you. Hope you had a good time. I definitely enjoyed these three decks. Oh, just to give you my finale, like a review, these are good products also. The quality is very high. These are sturdy, nice looking cards, vivid, vibrant colors. I hope that the camera was able to show them to you in all, well, at least in a good part of their glory. Nice decks, very unusual. Again, the perfect present for the card player that has everything.